Over-romanticizing our lives can really go too far and hurt us quite a bit. I'm the type of person who loves movies, who loves stories, who loves good characters, good character development, all of that. And I've noticed that I've met people who are like this as well, and I think a lot of us can relate to an unexpected negative impact that comes up, which is that sometimes you can catch yourself trying to make your life mimic certain stories that we know about. We could end up creating false narratives about things that are happening in our lives that actually aren't true. So for example, I'm the type of person who, I love the idea of close childhood friends who grow up together, they support each other through life, they share their wins, they share their losses, they support each other during sad moments, during hard moments. And I believe that is one of the things that motivated me to try to hang on to certain childhood friendships that in reality were on the way out. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, because with certain friends that you have as a child, you think naively, when you grow up you're going to stay together forever. And I think we've all had that moment where we realise with certain people the relationship just isn't the same anymore. And sometimes you notice that you're the only one who is making an effort now. You're the only one, you're mostly texting first, you're usually the one to suggest things to do, or the only one to suggest things to do, the only one initiating conversations, keeping them going. And sometimes it's hard enough to acknowledge that a friendship is dying. And I think over-romanticizing our lives adds to that, because if you're the type of person who likes the idea of having a childhood friend and keeping them into adulthood, then you're going to try extra hard to keep that thing going. I know I did. And real life just doesn't act like movies, that's the problem. Sometimes people change, the relationship just expires, and there's nothing we can do about it. No matter how good it would be, and specifically, no matter how close it is to being that ideal. I think that's the part that hurts the most. It's when you meet these people, you are friends for a long time, and it would be so easy. They're 99% of the way there from being the type of person who could have this great connection with you, who could really fulfill such an enjoyable role in your life, and they just that tiny bit of stopping them, that tiny bit of effort that they could be putting in, that tiny bit of just caring slightly more, and that can make it really hard to look at the writing on the wall and say, look, this person just isn't acting like how they used to be. The friendship is over. The friendship is obviously over. So when we're the type of people to romanticize life, I think romanticizing your life can be really cool. I certainly enjoy aspects of it, but it can also lead to you telling yourself misinformation. It's just lying to yourself about what's in front of you. Another example I have of this is that when people fail at things, I think that being overly romantic about life can lead to you overthinking and over-moralizing certain things that happen to you, certain losses that you have, for example. Like, I've seen so many people who have a certain struggle in their life, or they lose at some competition or something like that, and they start telling themselves like, oh, this is just a sign that, or you see those posts that people are like, oh, this is just a sign that I didn't deserve it yet, or I wasn't ready, or I wasn't the right type of person for this. Telling yourself all these narratives about the reason why you lost, when in reality, life doesn't reward you for being the right person or the wrong person. Life just rewards you for doing the action. When in life, what aspect of life rewards you specifically for being good over doing a certain action? I can't think of one. In reality, a lot of us can make the case that life does the opposite. We could say that life rewards people don't do who don't do good things. We could actually make that case. I would make that case, but you could. So that's the third point. If you over romanticize your life, you can end up telling yourself stories about why you're not getting what you want, when in reality you just need to try again. Like, it's not that a lot of the time it's not that deep. So those are the three things. Just try not to. I love romanticizing life. I think it's really cool. I think it's enjoyable to look at the parallels between our lives and the stories that we love and the movies that we love, but don't let it get too far. Otherwise, it can lead to some pretty bad places, from what I've seen.